We're going to talk about setting up your Guru workspace for success. Everything from collections and folders to pages and cards. We'll talk. What's that? Why am I working in this cramped and disgusting, dingy basement, you ask? First of all, rude. Second of all, it's because my real life workspace got so crowded up with a bunch of old random junk and nonsense that eventually my whole apartment got filled up with a whole bunch of random junk and nonsense. And this is the only place I could work and live. This is where I live now. I'm a basement boy. It's just me and the asbestos. You see, this isn't just a basement. It's also a flimsy metaphor for what can happen to your Guru workspace when it gets cluttered up with content that makes it difficult to navigate. You can wind up in the basement of knowledge management, which is that claustrophobic feeling that your experts feel when they're about to finally get some real work done, and then oops, the latest Slack ping goes off, and lo and behold, it's the same question for the 10th time this week. And oh, they'd love to get some real work done, but the questions just keep coming and coming and coming. Whether you're just starting out with Guru or looking to do a refresh, I want to help you set up your Guru workspace for success and be optimized for this new world of AI that we're all living in. Except me. Of course, I'm living in a basement.
So how do you set up your workspace for success? Let's start with Pages, shall we? Pages is the best way for you to curate a one-stop shop experience for your teams that is filled with the most important go-to resources.
Tip number one, think of a page like a bulletin board. It shouldn't be so crowded with information that the important stuff like open enrollment information gets buried under, tearaway phone number ads for dog sitters. But it also shouldn't be so sparse and stagnant that people ignore it.
So populate your page with your greatest hits information and utilize the page editor features like content blocks, which will help keep your page uniform, organized, and beautiful. Embed things like videos, images, decks, calendars, and even Spotify playlists to make an eye-catching page that brings together disparate sources of content that you want to share.
If pages are bulletin boards, then collections are like filing cabinets, and no one wants to spend too much time sifting through filing cabinets, so it's important to have a folder structure that's intuitive and easy to understand. So tip number two, when you're creating your collections, design them with new hires in mind. When you're creating those collections of folders, ask yourself, if I knew nothing about my company, could I easily navigate this workspace?
It's generally helpful to avoid esoteric company and industry jargon, as well as most acronyms in your collection and folder titles that may be unfamiliar to the uninitiated. Collections, in general, should be broken up by departments, with each team owning their own content, though you may have a need for product-specific collections as well as market or region-specific collections. The folders within your collections may vary greatly, but one easy rule to follow is to number your folders and to have them descend in order of topic complexity. So your general info and processes should be towards the top, and your more nuanced and complex information should be towards the bottom. Avoid generic titles like miscellaneous or general knowledge whenever you can, and use nested folders to limit the amount of scrolling needed. You can also assign your cards to multiple folders within a collection, and put your most important or popular cards at the top of all of your folders so that you can improve discoverability by accounting for different click paths.
All right, so if pages are bulletin boards and collections are filing cabinets and folders are, well, folders, then cards are obviously the paper that all the information is printed on. But let's leave that analogy behind for now because I'm starting to feel like I'm in a Staples and because we live in a tomorrow world where you can just ask Guru's AI a question and get back an answer so good that you don't even need to reference the card that it was on in the first place. So the question then becomes, how do you optimize your cards for the AI experience? Tip number three, design your cards with new hires in mind. But wait, you say, Basement Boy, isn't AI the pinnacle of human ingenuity? Doesn't it know everything about everything? So why do I have to design my cards for someone who doesn't know anything about anything? First of all, don't call me Basement Boy. Only I can call me that. Second of all, sure, AI is incredible, but your company's data has been protected. So you're going to need to make a lot of implicit information explicit, and you're going to need to give it a lot of context about all the nuances that make your company different from others. And the best way to do that is to think about your new hires.
In designing your content with new hires in mind simply means being very clear, consistent, and descriptive, clearly laying out your concepts and the relationships between concepts so that a new hire could understand your cards. This doesn't mean that you need to have super dense cards with long explanatory paragraphs. In fact, the more you lean on things like lists and tables, the easier your content will be to understand for everyone, including the AI. It just means that you should think about areas where you're relying on tacit knowledge and seeing if you can make it explicit. Beyond that, focus on making your cards as easy to read as possible. So, in addition to lists and tables, leverage things like headers, collapsible sections, callout boxes, and different kinds of media to break up content into digestible chunks and cater to different learning styles. The more direct and to the point you are, the better it will be for all of your users and for the AI.
Hopefully by now you have a great idea of what to consider when designing your Guru workspace and how pages, collections, folders, and cards can all work together to create a wonderful employee experience where they no longer have to search for hours or shoulder tap coworkers for the information that they need to do their jobs. And now that you know how to design a beautiful virtual workspace, maybe take a look around at your actual desk. Are yesterday's dishes still there? Is there a visible layer of dust on everything? Maybe it's time to do a cleanup. Take it from me, okay?